Hello, this is segment 3. I am Mary Kay Worth and I am home, and I hope that you are ready for this next segment. It actually has 2 parts to it that we'll go through. I want to start just by reminding you of the 5 steps of writing: brainstorming and inspiration, which we covered segment 1. Drafting, which we covered last time, segment 2. Sections 3 and 4. Segments 3 is revising and editing. And the 4th segment, the last 5th step, is publishing. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As we start with revising, I want you to get these words in your head. Mark things up. Scribble. Cross over. If you're using your computer or something like that, you might actually draw a line through it and put something over above so you don't forget. I haven't figured all that out with my phone, so I usually just backspace through and delete the words and put a new word in. So I don't get as much. It looks cleaner, but it's not really clean. But what I did with this family journal that I have that does so many things, and as I went through this, I found all kinds of drafts. And I found a draft that's going to work perfectly for this time. And the reason it works perfectly is because it was never taken beyond to publishing. So here we go. This is the first time I'm going to show you what revisions look like. This is Mrs. Cooley's class. And you'll note the date on there, 3/17/16. It was the day after St. Patrick's Day, and I had visited her class. And I wrote a poem. And you could see all my markouts, up my cross-off. Sometimes I can't even read my own writing. And it just goes all the way through the page. And then on the bottom of the second page, and I've decided to leave this one completely out. But I want to read to you what I think this says. And I changed the first line, 18 children in a school. I changed it to 18 children in a room. Listening, looking, laughing, too. I crossed out laughing. I changed it to and learning. So listening, looking, and learning, too. Welcome the poet, Mrs. Worth. And actually, I just fixed my writing there. Welcome, poet Mrs. Worth, who shared with you. Well, that got crossed out. And who came to March 17th with you. The cadence is wrong. But so far, this is what it says. 18 children in a room, listening, looking, and laughing too. No, start again. 18 children in a room, listening, looking, and learning too. Welcome the poet, Mrs. Worth, who came March 17th with you. So to and you are supposed to rhyme. But anyway, that's just the first verse again. And I want you to look again at all the crossouts and the revisions. And you just see how I keep working on it, and I would keep working on it, and I would keep working on it, and I read it out loud, and I check the cadence, especially because I chose poetry for that one. And I could go on and on and on with that one, but I'm going to do some other things now. So what I want to do now is also in this book. I want to take you to the original poem that became a published poem by a totally different name. And we can do that because we're the author, so we can. So the original poem was Little Lissa. And you can see already Not only have I drafted it, but I've started revising it. I've crossed out and I've crossed out and I've replaced. But not far into this, I actually changed. I had a little God whisper, and the God whisperer said, it's time for you to actually write the poem for everyone. So I did that. And what is interesting is there are not many changes in this. There are not many changes because I had already done all that editing and revising and editing because I published that one. So here is a Lucky Stone Day, and it says right on it, I'll get to it, I promise. It's another big, heavy book. Little one, a Lucky Stone Day. And that's how it starts out. And it actually says, a rewrite of Little Lissa and My Little Piece of Heaven, which is a different book. Oh, there, my book was right in front of my face. I'm sorry about that. But it goes, little ones, come out to play. Bring your pink bucket. It's a Lucky Stone Day. Come with me and we will go to a favorite place I know. And I crossed out dock and deck outside the door. I crossed that out and put on the eastern bank of a finger lake, special beauty only God can make. And so you can see where I've done that there. And that is called revising, where we make changes and where we go forward with that. And it's just awesomeness. It's a great process, and I was so happy to find this stuff, that I was actually able to see that really the 5 steps are all here. They might be a little adjusted depending on what tool you use. Because sometimes the autocorrect is going to kick right in and it's going to tell you and you're going to fix the spelling right away. Or if you're on your computer or your phone, it's going to tell you, and this is a fragment. Well, you might want a fragment. You're the author. You get to do that. The next one I want to show you is the draft that I began revising and eventually took it through. And I've got great stories to tell you about this one. But it's Pop-Pop's Train Ride. And here's Pop-Pop's Train Ride. And here's the beginning of it. And you can see already in there where I start making revisions. I start making changes. Let me start by reading this. Let's take a train ride down the tracks. Pop-Pop likes the train. Clickety-clack. Tickets, Porter. And it used to say, Porter, the big clock is ticking. And I wrote, tickets, Porter. Check the clock. Boarding soon. Pop-Pop's train ride leaves at noon. And I changed this. I actually took a whole line out of it, and even in what we have, and it's even different from what was done before. But it goes, tickets, Porter. We're boarding soon. Pop-Pop's train ride leaves at noon. And that's the revision before we get to the editing. So it's pretty amazing how all that stuff happens. The next one I want to show you is Dear Dear. And I'm going to go to this page, and I had it marked, and I pulled the mark out, and so there that goes. But this was very early in the process, and it was December 13th and 14th, 2014. And oh boy, look at this. Look at the draft and look at the revisions. Yeah, so this is what it said. Dear Dear, you are wild. You should run. I edited in a 7-point rack. So it says now, you are wild, a 7-point rack. You should run, but you didn't. You came close. Once, cross out, following my dog, cross out, move, following me along Lake Road, cross out, you travel behind a Great Dane. I got close, within 6 feet. Why weren't you afraid? Why didn't you run? And that's just the first stanza. My original draft, and then the revisions behind it. Taking it to the next level, taking it through. I want the cadences to rhyme. I want the cadences to be the right beat. That's the word I'm really looking for. There you go. Another stanza has all kinds of crossouts and an arrow and moving things around. And so in the end, it says, walking my dog, families gathered, enjoying the new park playground. One last summer day before school began. You were there too, in the middle, and then cross out adults and children, cross out approach, within 6 feet. Why weren't you afraid? Why didn't you run? And here we go again. You can see the original stanza and the lines moving things and the crossouts and stuff like that. It really depends on what tool I use, what I do. And so that is something to take into consideration. But the end, the product is the same. So that is step 3. Now, step editing just goes to decisions on how you want your text to look. Capitals, punctuation, paragraph, title, chapters, etc. Clean it up. Make a clean copy. That's what editing is making a clean copy. But if you're E.E. Cummings and you decide you want no capitals and no punctuation, guess what? You get to do that. You do get to do that because you're the author. And as you write and go through the steps, you can do all that. I do have an optional prompt for you. And again, I'm emphasizing optional. I want you to note that in this exercise, you should start marking up your draft, revise it, and you start editing to prepare for the last step. It depends on what tool you're using, whether or not you're going to edit almost immediately during your revisions. But anyway, that is all of segment 3 with 2 pieces in it, revising and editing. I'll say the 5 pieces again: brainstorming or inspiration, drafting, and then your 2 pieces together, revising and editing, and the final piece, which will be the next segment, segment 4, will be step 5, the publishing part. God bless you. I'll see you soon.